Gunboat here, instructions.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Phoenix Rising. So, first things first. Well, the audio that you're currently hearing is not actually the audio that was, well, it's not the audio that should go to what you're currently seeing, basically. Essentially, what happened was that I had unplugged the microphone because it seemed to be interfering with something else I was doing. I don't think it actually was, but it was. I was troubleshooting things and had unplugged it. And then, a few days later, when I went to record this episode, apparently something happened and it decided that it wasn't going to pick up this microphone when I started recording. So, well, I went and recorded the episode, not even noticing, and it just didn't record my voice at all through the whole episode. This episode and next episode. Problem with that, well, apart from the obvious, was that last week I didn't have time to do anything about it, so that's why Saturday was missing. But the other problem is that these two episodes, in particular, next episode, well, the events that take place are not necessarily repeatable. You know, it's one of those things where I don't want to just load the save and re-record them because it's interesting and the timings were very specific and, you know, it's not... Basically, I didn't want to do that. It seemed better to me to, well, do this. Leave the game recording as it is, and then re-record voice over top of it. Which is what I'm doing now. So, that is the current state of things. That's why you're not going to hear the mouse or the keyboard or anything like that. And basically, I'm going to be commenting over what is happening. And what you're seeing right now is me basically, well, right there right now is Agamar that the CIS just took from their forces back here. So they moved not their entire fleet over there, but a good chunk of it to hit the Empire. And basically, here we can see, yeah, not quite their entire fleet, but a good chunk of it. And right now, we're contemplating heading straight into that planet. The other thing we're making note of is the fact that the Empire is, well, sitting over our planet and seems like they might be getting ready to strike back at the CIS or CSA. What did I say? CIS? Whatever it is. Corporate Sector Authority. And, well, the main question I'm asking here is, are they going to go over our planet to hit the CSA, or are they going to hit our planet instead? And then we're contemplating heading straight in with Akbar's fleet here, which after some shuffling of stuff around, we do just that.
Tactical battle imminent.
And here it is. Haven't moved any of their forces back to try and engage us. So here we are at Bodajef. And at this point, well, I'm having a certain thought.
Squadron reporting.
Basically,
Standing by.
they these guys, the CSA, have just now attacked the Empire.
V-Wing Squadron reporting.
Right? And this fleet here is probably
Y-Wing
part of the
Squadron
reason they
reporting.
did that,
V-Wing
because
here.
they didn't think they could attack us from where they were,
Ready. Roger.
because we had too large of a fleet.
Squadron advance.
So my thought here is,
Ready for duty.
what if we do something, can we do something to get them to
Enemy
fight
forces
each
ahead.
other rather than us in this area of space? After going through a lot of thought and reasoning it out, I end up deciding to go ahead with this attack, break their stations so that they have to spend money on it, but not to actually take the planet. This whole front part of this is me sitting here talking it out and deciding that, yeah, we're going to do this attack, but we're not going to send ground forces to take the planet.
Roger that.
The basic idea being, if they're attacking each other and they're not attacking us, that'll give us more time to build up, at least in this area of space. There's only a couple of other places where they can attack each other, but in this area specifically, I think we want to basically get out of their way and let them have at each other. Another reason for this attack, I'll be honest, is to kind of give us a chance to use the new bombers. We don't have very many of them. I think we ended up with one squadron of B-Wings in this whole thing, but kind of wanted to see how they do. I think what we end up deciding is that single squadrons like that is not really the most useful thing. Instead of, like, I have been getting fighters and bombers and just kind of mixing it up, right? You know, a few X-Wings, B-Wing, Y-Wing, that sort of thing. I think instead what we want to do is get full build queue of 5 of whatever we want, and consider that like a single purchase of the fighter rather than individual squadrons, because individual squadrons are not the most useful, and I think mixing them up like that in the build queue is just making things more complicated than it needs to be, if you know what I mean. Like, it would be better to get a full 5 B-Wings that we can use as B-Wings rather than a couple of B-Wings here and an X-Wing and a Y-Wing and a this and a that, and then having a ragtag collection of 1 or 2 or 3 of each thing. Need to have more substantial numbers of them.
Can do.
And also tugs. Should really make use of the tugs more, I think. We upgraded them and then haven't built any.
An excellent tactic.
copy.
Affirmative.
I copy. Order confirmed. Frigate responding. Reporting. Yes, sir. Yes, Commander. Ready
One
to
thing we
commence.
did
Can I
notice
help?
that's really interesting and good to know for the future in this battle is during the first engagement with the Golan, it used powered weapons against almost entirely one MC-80, and the MC-80 automatically used its power to shields, and the end result of that was the shields were basically undamaged. They essentially fully negated the power to weapons of the Golan,
Form up.
which is definitely a good thing to know in future if we happen to be fighting with a Golan or against a Golan.
Weapons charged.
Because if you can get it to entirely focus on one of the large tanks that have power to shields, you can essentially take it out with basically no casualties, no damage done.
All craft engage.
Of course, it is just a Golan 2, but still, that's an interesting note about the way that the two abilities work. They're essentially, at least for those two things specifically, Golan 2 and a MC-80, they just about equal each other.
Almost in range. I've got him lined up. Y-wing standing by.
Weapons operational.
I got him. Stay on him. I've got him lined up. 3-2, full throttle. Watch your 6.
Ready.
That's it. Scratch one.
Something I'm noticing here in editing for this video is that it looks to me an awful lot like the video quality has gone down, and I don't know why. I'm going to have to check my settings again. I don't understand. I don't change anything and things change. Like the thing with unplugging the microphone, I sort of kind of understand, I guess. I don't know why it couldn't just remember. But okay, fine. Whatever. But the video settings, why does it seem like the video settings have changed? It's very frustrating. I'm going to double check that for not next episode, the episode after.
Right away. Tactical battle imminent.
And there it is. No, in fact, they were not content to just go over our planet to attack the CSA. They, yeah. They didn't bring as much as they did last time, which is interesting. I don't know why. Because they definitely have the ability to get intel on what we have, and we've definitely built up since they last attacked. So I'm not sure why they feel like they can do this now, especially with the shield.
Copy that.
But either way,
Orders, sir.
we have the shield and we have
Advancing.
all of the LATs. Just all of them.
Moving out.
Look at that. And the lag spike with the dropping of the stuff.
Gunboat here, sir.
Seems in this battle it seems like the because they have ATPTs and
Shields up.
speeders, seems like they lag about the same, interestingly. But as you can see
Weapons
right
armed.
here, we're starting
Your
to see the
orders?
first issue with having this many of these things.
All weapons loaded.
They
4B mobile. Roger. Acknowledged.
yeah, they're a little awkward to use in these kinds of
Roger that.
numbers.
Form up.
Like
Heading out. Awaiting orders.
they're just kind of
E2B over.
not wanting to
We've
move
located the enemy.
because there's just so many of them and they don't want to overlap. And they're
E2B,
large.
copy. On it,
They're
sir.
really big
Copy.
ships.
I copy.
So they take up a lot of space. So
Reporting.
that just means that they're really difficult to maneuver.
Command received.
I don't think
Yes, sir.
using them in large numbers like this is a good idea. Just because
Moving
it's
out.
so hard to get them to cooperate.
Yes, Commander.
I end up fighting with these things through this entire battle.
Orders, sir. Gunboat here, sir. Weapons armed. Your orders?
Our base
It's not to
is
say they're
under
not
attack.
effective, but
Ready for
they're
action.
a pain in the butt to
Repair stations
actually
constructed.
use, and I don't think we end up actually properly making use of the firepower of more than about 2/3 of what we have at any given time.
Roger that. Form up.
So there's a good
Waiting orders.
third to about a half of these guys throughout this battle that just sit around not doing anything because they can't get into position.
Give me a target.
Give me the target. Ready. Take cover. I copy. Course plotted. Reporting. Yes, sir. Let's move out. Let's go. Keep going. Yes, Commander. This way. Tank brigade here.
We're on station and ready to fire.
And here we see the funky dance of the AATs.
Copy.
For some reason, the way that it seems like they have a different something when they turn around
Orders, sir.
to move. It's different than when they turn around to fire.
Station and ready to
So if you tell them to fire, like behind them, then tell them to move, like they'll turn around to fire, but they won't have turned around to move. They're still, like, the movement is still in the same direction, but the firing has turned around or something, so they do this
Our
weird
base
little
is under
dance
attack.
thing when you try to get them to move after,
Here, sir.
you know, they've been moving in a direction and then firing in a different direction.
Build path.
Very weird.
Armor standing by. Form up.
Orders understood. Standing by.
But as you can see, there's, what, about 8 lardies that are actually firing right now, and there's the lag. I think that was actually them dropping speeders, but I'm not entirely sure. Whenever they dropped, it takes them a while to get them over here. So it could be either. Yeah, only a portion of our gunships are actually firing right now.
Weapons armed. Activating weapon.
Where's my target?
Armor ready. I've got him in my sight.
Unit destroyed.
Awaiting orders.
Ready to roll.
I copy, sir. Cantorus unit on point now.
Roger that. Roger.
Repair station constructed.
Combat systems at 100%. Assault tank reporting for duty.
Roger that. Advancing.
We've secured a build pad.
Your orders? Advancing. Roger. Roger that. Acknowledged.
Repair station constructed.
Form up.
Construction complete.
I copy.
Yes, sir.
Our base
Engaging
is under
target.
attack.
Mass drivers activated. Commencing assault now.
Awaiting orders. Heading out. Copy.
Power generator destroyed.
And that's when I remembered that, oh yeah,
I copy.
we have a power generator too. The shield doesn't just come by itself, and I had completely forgotten, or not even realized, that it was down there, right where they can,
Reporting.
What do you,
you
want
know,
me to hit?
shoot it and blow it up without us doing anything about it.
Copy.
Which,
Yes, sir.
in hindsight, I probably should have checked the map just to see, hey, where is the power generator? That seems like an important thing to know. But nope,
Yes, Commander.
didn't even think about it.
Ready to relay orders now. Attacking enemy positions now.
We've secured
I
a
copy.
build pad.
Copy.
Cantorus tank
Just the
ready.
sheer
Mass
numbers of
drivers loaded and ready for
ATPTs.
action. Give me a target.
It's ridiculous. And I think that's probably just 2 squads. I think they come in 8.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I think.
Commander. Positioning. Ready. Copy that. Setting course. Orders, sir. Gunboat here, sir. Weapons armed.
Give me a target. Continuing the attack. Position Alpha successfully
Repair
reached.
station constructed.
Ready. I copy. Your orders? Roger. Right away. Roger that. Moving out. Form up. Awaiting
You know,
orders.
as I'm watching this, I think my earlier estimates are probably a bit too generous. I don't think even 1/3 of these things are firing at any given time.
Construction complete.
Look at how many there are back on the top right of the screen. They're just sitting there not doing anything.
Fire. Weapon system
Yeah, large numbers of gunships sounds powerful, but
Focusing in
it's
on a hard target
really
now.
dependent on how
Engaging fire.
well you can actually
I copy.
maneuver them
Reporting.
into position.
Yes, sir.
And
Awaiting your orders.
certainly for this
Moving
map,
into
it's
position.
just not
Yes, Commander.
conducive.
Heading out.
Especially
All
because
out.
they have that
Move
thing
out.
where they
Ready. Let's go.
want to, by default, follow the footpaths, even though they can fly over the impassable stuff.
Orders, sir. Gunboat here,
Like the
sir.
tree lines here.
Weapons armed. Your orders?
They can fly over that, but they don't by default. You have to actually make them.
Not a boat.
So especially when you've got larger numbers like this, it's really difficult to get them to do that. This here, I'm double checking to see which of these two is actually the tankier.
Reporting. Roger. Roger that.
There's a lot of numbers
Form up.
to
Awaiting
keep
orders.
track of with
Copy.
that sort of thing, and I don't
Engaging
remember.
target. I copy.
We've
Reporting.
secured a
Keep
build
going.
pad.
What do I get to blow up?
Repair station
Yes, sir.
constructing.
Orders understood. Standing by. Moving at full speed now.
Tank brigade here. Commence assault. Yes, Commander. This way. Over there. Advancing. Acknowledged. Ready. Heading out.
Construction
Where's my
complete.
target? Awaiting orders.
Copy. Copy that. Orders, sir. Ready for action. Order acknowledged. Coordinates received. Gunboat here, sir. Roger that. Ready for attack.
I copy, sir.
Weapons armed. Command received.
And here, we're heading out to see if we can find where they're repairing, because I'm assuming they're doing the same thing they did last time, with a repair bay over there to the left. And this here is clearly demonstrating that
Right
AA
away.
is not all that useful,
We've secured a build pad.
to be perfectly honest.
Heading out. Your orders? Fall out. Roger.
Oh, that orbital bombardment was
Roger
so
that.
close.
Targeting enemy.
But it also doesn't seem to have done that much.
Form up.
I mean,
Let's
it
move out.
grazed that Lardy in the
Let's
back,
go.
and it
Awaiting
didn't-
orders.
just took the shields down.
Form up.
Didn't do that much else, which is
Copy.
interesting. I'm wondering if they could survive, like, if a Lardy could survive a direct hit from an orbital bombardment. I don't want to find out, but
Attacking.
given how much damage that one took, seems like it might be close. It's also interesting that they don't have any repair back here, even though they could. They didn't build anything on that far left build pad where they had the repair last time.
Fire.
I don't know why.
They're falling back. Keep going. This way. Over there.
But
I
overall,
copy.
it was still a more effective defense than it was last time. Between the Lardy's firepower and the shield, it was quite effective this time. Of course, they, again, didn't bring nearly as much, but, I mean, still a more effective defense, I think.
Gunboat here, sir.
And here, we're debating. whether or not to literally just pull back from this planet entirely and let them have it. The idea being, the Empire has a significant fleet. The CSA has a significant number of forces, but the forces up by Munilinst are less than the Imperial fleet, and the forces down over here in this area are also less. If they were to combine them, the CSA is, I think, if not quite stronger, they're at least around about equal to the Imperial fleet, but on their own, the two areas are weaker. So the idea is, if we just pull off of Garki and leave them to it, because Megiddo is going to be quite well defended if we do pull back like this. Our planets over in this area are also quite well defended. So if we can basically just let them fight each other and get out of the way, as long as they actually do that, it should mean that we have more time in the area to build up, because they're spending forces, basically, fighting each other rather than us. So that is the whole idea that I'm currently discussing in the Lost audio. And decide to go ahead with the idea. It's possibly a bad idea, but if it works, it will give us more time to build forces and be left alone in the area, theoretically. And because, frankly, because I'm curious if this many of our transports can kill one of their titans. Yeah, we end up sending ours across the map to find theirs. It's just the one, so it was, I don't know, I thought it would be interesting to see what would happen if they fought each other. Individually, that Titan transport is actually technically more powerful than ours, but we've got, what, 7 of them, I think?
Secure cargo.
No, we have 9, I can count.
I copy. Defend the cargo. Reporting. We'll do our best. Transport away. Yes, sir. Destination acquired.
Either way, I'll go ahead and speed this up here. It's, we end up just kind of chasing it around, and it keeps losing us in the asteroid field and the nebula there. But one thing that is interesting, I guess, it's a little bit of trivia, I suppose, won't ever probably come up into any normal battle, but apparently the GR-75s have a 360-degree firing arc with their weapons. The Titan can only fire forwards, as far as I can tell, because they only ever actually shot back when it was headed more or less directly for us, which is a kind of, you know, it's not really a thing that anyone would need to know ever, but I don't know, I thought it was interesting. But there's that, and basically the idea here is to just kind of sell everything and let them have it. It's, yeah, I mean, we did just buy that shield generator, so it is a waste of credits, technically. But, and I mean, this is a significant but if this works, and we get them in this area to just fight each other, more or less, that should give us space to maneuver, essentially. And this map, I mean, that is one of the maps I recognize as being, at least I think I recognize it, as being quite defensible. So we should be able, even if they kick our fleet off of this planet, which the idea here is that we continue building up just here so that they have less incentive to fight us and more incentive to fight each other. But even if they do, I think we can hold it on the ground. The other thing this lets us do is send Akbar north.
2 coordinates.
Because the CSA up in that area, as far as we know, they kicked the Empire out. So they should, as long as the Empire and the CSA fight each other up over in the northwest area around Megiddo, it should give us the space to, well, I mean, hopefully it would give us the space to maneuver.
Ready for recon.
But there is still the raid issue and Ithor, and I end up stopping it here because, well, it's a raid, and this sort of raid is the sort to, well, it's going to take a while to get through that, so that is going to do it for this episode. I do hope it was at least vaguely interesting. I know not much happened, and I mean, I did do quite a bit of admin around the galaxy as we were waiting for things to move and build and stuff like that, but yeah, not a whole lot interesting happened. Next episode is going to be interesting. So I hope you're there, and until then, thank you for watching. Take care, and farewell.